Assalamu alaikum everyone, I'm Roselem, I'm a convert to Islam. You guys are gonna absolutely love this video. I saw it, I had to share it. The comparison between the Quran and Bible, things that I subconsciously realized when I was reading the Quran, but things that I never really properly realized until this amazing lady pointed it out. You guys are gonna be so shocked about this.
I reverted to Islam, thank God. But right now I'm reading the Bible for educational purposes. But the difference between the Quran and the Bible is just amazing. Like when I read the Quran, I knew it is from God by the way that it is written. Even though I'm reading a translation of the Arabic, I still know it is from God. But now that I'm reading the Bible, like I know that some things are inspired and that these are stories about the prophets, but the way it is written, you know that these are human narrations. Let me give an example. That is the fourth book, Numbers 14, verse 11. The Lord said to Moses, "How long will these people reject me? How long will they not believe me? With all the signs which I have performed among them, I will strike them with the pestilence and disinherit them, and I will make of you a nation greater and mightier than they." And Moses said to the Lord, "Don't do that, because then the Egyptian will hear it, and they will say like, oh, that's their God who led them out of the land of Egypt, and now he killed them in the wilderness." And then God says, "Okay, I have pardoned according to your word, Moses." Like, when you read this, you just know that that is not from God. But when you read the Quran, you know the truth when it says, whether you believe or not, God is in no need. Everything in existence is dependent on him, but he is self-sufficient, not depending on anyone or anything. Like the contrast is so big. And I'm not saying that there's nothing in the Bible that is inspired by God or coming from God, but you just know that the Bible is written by human hands. And that it is not like dictated by like the dictated word of God. When they say the Bible, the word of God, you just know it's not. Because of the contradictions, because of like even the bloodline of Jesus, like there are contradictions all over. So it's just, I'm doing this for educational purposes, but it's even like hard to digest, really. But yeah, we're still going through to reach the end of the book, of the Bible, I mean. But every night when I have a chance to read the Quran, and I just open it I already finished reading the Quran multiple times, thank God. But I just open it at a random page and then read a chapter. And it's just light upon light. It's a healing of the soul. Like, I don't feel that at all when I read the Bible.
MashaAllah. I love this video so much. There's so much to say. So yes, I completely agree with her. When I was a kid, I actually grew up not religious, but then when my brother passed away when I was quite young, my family got into religion a little bit, and then I decided that I wanted to really get into religion, and Christianity was all I knew. And I say this about Christians a lot in the UK. Like, a lot of people, they hold on to Christianity, not because they've studied all the religions and they believe Christianity is the truth. Like, they haven't gone, there's this religion, this religion, this religion, and then gone, okay, out of all the religions, Christianity is most likely the truth. No, that's not the case. What's happened is people are seeking some kind of connection with God, spirituality, and all they know is Christianity. So they just go straight to Christianity. And that's what happens in the UK. So that's what I did when I was a teenager. I got really into Christianity. I was going to the church a lot. I was part of all the kids groups at the church. And I was trying to read the Bible and I just could not, I just couldn't. And I remember I used to do acting classes in London, and I lived in Cambridge. And it was a long drive, like an hour and a half drive all the way to these studios that I used to go to. And I used to try and read the Bible. I was like, okay, the whole way here, I was like, 12, 13, 14. The whole way here, I'm going to try and read the Bible. And I used to try and read it. It was a kid's version. And I was like, it's just nothing. Like, it's just stories. This person had a fight with this person. And it was just so boring. And I just couldn't connect with it, even though I tried my absolute hardest. But I still showed up to all the kids groups and everything. And when I read the Quran for the first time, the first ever time I picked up the Quran inside the hostel in Turkey, I picked it up. I read a couple of pages. I was so shocked by it that I started taking pictures of the verses I was reading so that I could remember them, because I was so shocked by it. And I was like, whoa, there's this. SubhanAllah. And I became Muslim. I picked up the Quran. I declared my Shahada maybe around 5 months later. But I kind of became Muslim from that day, because that day I started learning how to pray. I even started wearing hijab way before I became Muslim. I was doing my 5 prayers way before I became Muslim. That literally, I picked up the Quran and I feel like I literally became Muslim in that moment, because I didn't stop on that journey since. So from the day of picking up the Quran all the way to my Shahada, even though I didn't know any Muslims at the time, I was completely on my own. There was at no point that I thought that I'm not going to be Muslim. I knew from that moment. And that's the power of reading the Quran versus reading the Bible. Obviously, the Bible is full of insane amounts of contradictions, from Judas's death to the lineage of Jesus. There's a lot of contradictions. Who carried the cross? What were his last words? Who found him in the cave? There's just so many things, because the books say different things. When I brought this up to a vicar at my local church, has a PhD in theology from Cambridge University, in Christian theology from Cambridge University. He said, oh, it's good that we have this. It's good that we have contradictions in the Bible and all these different stories, because if we didn't, I would be worried. I was like, what does that mean? He was like, if it didn't, then it looks like there's some kind of person at the top that's making sure there's no mistakes and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, but if it's written by God, there should be no mistakes. So this is how they justify all these contradictions. They say it's a good thing, it makes it more human. And they really go with this whole argument of, oh, it makes it more human. God asking for Moses to help him. Or God saying, I'm going to do this, and then Moses saying, no, don't do this. And then God saying, okay, yeah, you're right. That makes him more human. He's a human and he makes mistakes, all this kind of thing. It's just not powerful. Think about it logically. I strongly feel this about Islam. Having a strong, powerful God changes your life and actually allows you to be happy, satisfied, and follow your religion. This is coming from somebody that went through a lot of religions. I was Christian, I was Hindu, I tried Buddhism, I tried Scientology, Hare Krishna. I went into lots of different things. The God that is portrayed in the Quran, the God in Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is the most powerful God than any other religion. And that is absolutely transformative, because if you're making dua, if you are speaking to God, if you are doing everything in your life because you want to get close to God, you want that God to be all powerful, all knowing. And even from a logical point of view, God has to be all powerful, all knowing, because this universe couldn't exist if God was not all powerful, all knowing. So from a logical perspective, it makes sense. From a psychological perspective, from the perspective of, I want to be in a religion where my God is all powerful and actually has the ability to change things, to make things happen, to listen to me, to see me, to not make mistakes, then that's important. The Christians love this whole idea of God makes mistakes. Oh, he's so human. He's so human. Humans make mistakes. It's more relatable to us. We don't. And it's no. I want to connect and spend my life getting close to a God that is all powerful, that can actually make a difference when I'm praying in the middle of the night to speak to him, and doesn't make mistakes. And if you look at the God in the Quran versus the God in the Bible, obviously we believe that there are elements of truth in the Bible, but we also know that there's not. We also know that it's been corrupted. That's the Christian view. And then in Hinduism, they have all these stories of God stealing butter as a kid, and God doing just crazy things that I don't even want to mention, because there are so many crazy things in Hinduism. All these, again, like these human stories, God making mistakes, God stealing things, God looking at naked women, all this kind of thing. No, nothing like that in Islam. The God presented in Islam, out of all the other religions, is presented as the most powerful God and the most logically sound God. Anyway, this has been great. As always, thank you guys for watching. Assalamu alaikum.